The views and opinions expressed in Media Litter Sandwich do not reflect on the views of the network, station, studio, website, sponsors, guests, hosts themselves, anyone or anything else associated or even not associated with this podcast. Maybe not even the person that said them. In other words, do your own research and do not sue anyone over what is said on this show.
Today on Media Litter Sandwich, it's just me and I rant to myself about some Facebook rants, and then I do a Toaden read segment where I read a couple news articles. It's quite amusing, I think. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I should have got a guest today. Let me know. Welcome to Media Litter Sandwich. I'm Toaden, and I'm running the show solo today. First time in a long time. So we'll see how much I muck this up. You can find me at Toaden.com, MediaLitterSandwich.com, and so many podcast apps that Media Litter Sandwich is on. I don't know what you're listening this to, but hey, feel free to comment or email me at podcast@MediaLitterSandwich or Scott@Toaden.com. I'd like to know, how do you hear us? Do you like what you listen to? And you can always drop a comment on youtube.com/ToadenK on the video. If in case you didn't know, there is video. Not much to look at other than my face. So, and this beautiful hotel. I am second week recording on the Foundation studio at the Foundation Hotel in Detroit, and this is great. I get very distracted by the big window looking at the street right in front of Cobo Hall, which it will be renamed soon, which we talked about last week. But, this is fun. I can't wait to get in here during the convention and see like cosplayers walking up and down. I may have already booked time during some conventions that happen over there, and it's gonna be fun. So shout out to the Striped Circus. I met some of these clowns the other day. Well, this is being recorded on February 26th. So when I say the other day, I'm talking in February. I know these podcasts get recorded sometimes weeks in advance. That way I could have some time off and actually have time to edit these things. But yeah, anyways, big shout out to the Striped Circus. There was a clowning around event. I'm not sure if they're the ones that organized it, but it was fantastic. It was rainy. It was cold. It was Detroit. And outdoor skating and campus marches and a bunch of clowns skating around. I didn't capture any video because there was other people there. I don't like to record a bunch of kids skating around, especially, man, when you see kids around clowns, you get one of three reactions. You either get kids kind of scared, and these weren't scary clowns, although I love my scary clowns. I would like to go to Midwest Haunters Convention again, where I hang out with a bunch of scary clowns. So you get kids that are scared. You get kids that are really happy or trying to figure out what's going on. And the clowns love that. You had several of them doing like balloon animals and tricks. It was really something. And then you get the ones that just don't care. Oh, you're in clown makeup. Oh, that's cool. That's okay. You can live. You know how kids are, or young adults. It's a different thing. I think kids are more used to seeing people dressed up and looking weird. Or maybe that's just me because I go to a lot of events. I don't know. What do I know? Well, I do know that I'm on WDVR every Tuesday night at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern. And yeah, it's true that the YouTube video comes out first, that the podcast come out same time the YouTube video comes out on Spotify and all that stuff. But if you tune in on WDVR, you get to talk to me in the chat room. Maybe you already listened to the podcast and you're like, you know what? I want to talk to that crazy dude. That's how you can do it. That's one of the ways you can do it. I'm open to comments and stuff like that, but we can have a full conversation in live time with other people around, which is nice. Or you could also join the Facebook group, but it's kind of cool to talk about the show while you're listening to it. It's a totally different experience. It's really cool. I think so. So today I wanted to go on some Facebook rants. Last time we went on a Facebook, maybe not last time, but one of the first times we went on a Facebook rant, and William was on the show from All About William. We talked about things that bugged us about Facebook groups. And we ended up being banned from several of the groups. We ended up being banned about groups that don't even do what we were complaining about. And anything that we complained about, it wasn't one group that was doing it. We were complaining about trends we saw. So groups actually took offense to that and blocked us and took us out of the groups. You know, guilty conscience much? I don't know. Maybe they just don't like us. That's okay. So my Facebook rants today. Again, these aren't. Yeah, there's things that kind of trigger these rants, but these are also trends. These are things I see multiple times, and I wish people would stop or just realize what they are doing. Like when you disagree about something on Facebook, this you know what, this I could open up to a much larger rant and conversation. So about a year ago now at PenguinCon, I jumped on a panel. They needed some extra people for this panel about social media, and it was about social discourse on social media, including Facebook and Twitter. You know, I have some experience. So I volunteer my services and I go to this panel. One person dropped and there was this other gentleman still there. So it's just me and this gentleman that I don't know exactly what his background is. I just said, you know what? You start the show. He said that he's the one that submitted the idea and everything. At least that's what he said, or the impression I got. I don't know for sure. I said, you start the show. I'll follow your lead. Just make room for me to talk, and ask me for, and feel free to put me in. So he starts off, doesn't even introduce himself. Doesn't even say, hey, this is the panel. This is the topic. I'm so-and-so. This is what this is why I'm up here talking. Hey, I'm Toaden. I've been on social media for X amount of time. I make videos. I had 1 or 2 viral videos, and I've dealt with a lot of different types of comments. Something like that to make people know why you're up there, why they can listen to you and take you as some sort of a source of information, right? So this guy gets up there and he goes, you snowflakes, you are the reason that everything is so messed up on social media. I get on and he just starts ranting. And I'm like, okay, let's see where this goes. And he tells a story that how his nephew or niece said something and their friends were saying something dumb. He called them out, and so all his friends are attacking him. And I looked at my watch. I think I waited about 5 to 10 minutes because I want to see where this was going. It was going nowhere. So I interrupted him, like, sorry, you mind if I introduce myself? And he looked at me. I was like, oh, yeah, maybe I should have done that. Go ahead. I introduced myself. I said, sir, and he goes back into it. I'm like, wait, sir, hang on. What's your name? And why are you up here? Oh, I'm just an average Joe talking. Okay, so let's get back. So now let's get into the social media part of this. This guy, everything he said, I rebutted it. Not in a mean way, not saying he's wrong. Just if your friend on Facebook, and in this case, his nephew, if his friends don't like you or don't like what you said, there might be a reason. And I asked him, well, what did he say? He's like, oh, I said he was an idiot. Well, maybe you shouldn't be calling your nephew an idiot on Facebook. I'm probably guilty of that, but do it in a different way, simple things. And I may end up doing that panel again, but that's kind of made me think about different social things that maybe people just don't know. I might just edit a bunch of that out. It makes me feel better when I rant. Okay. So my first Facebook rant today has to do with, if you disagree with something, tell me what you disagree with. I mean, it's social discourse. You put an opinion on Facebook or Twitter, somebody's going to disagree with you. And this happens a lot. It's not a big deal. Don't let it ruin a friendship. Sometimes if someone writes down, hey, this is how I feel and this is why. And they might do something like post a video of the Young Turks. I politely tell them, hey, the Young Turks is not a news source. They, in fact, get a lot of their stuff wrong. The only time I'm really amused by them is when I'm trying to fact check while they're talking or while watching someone else fact check them or react to them. Other than that, I don't. Young Turks is. If you're a fan of Young Turks, I do challenge you to go ahead and fact check them with an open mind. Don't be like, oh, I love them, so of course I'm going to allow them to. Just with an open mind, fact check them. Watch them react videos. I think you'll get what I'm going at here. So I tell them that, and I tell them, hey, so some of the things you said here are wrong. This is why. This is why. This is why. And and sometimes it's a news story. Hey, you got the news story wrong. This is really what happened. And they'll write stuff like disagree, or I disagree. I disagree, or you're wrong. And I'm curious what they disagree with, so I count how many statements I made. It's like I made 7 statements, 4 of them are facts, 3 of them are opinions. Can you please tell me what exactly do you disagree with? Well, I don't want to argue. Well, great. We went nowhere with this, which is most Facebook conversations. But sometimes you don't want your friend to look like an idiot. Sometimes you want to be closer to your friend. Sometimes you just saying something because it's been falsified in the news or people are posting really messed up things. This has happened when sometimes people post satire articles as well. I'm not going to say fake news. I'm going to say satire because these are articles that are wrong on purpose for either entertainment purposes or propaganda or whatever. And, oh man, we talked about this last week with Dave Hernan, who's a news reporter. We talked with him. He said so often they actually have to write news articles telling people the satire article they read was satire and not real. That's the society we're in today. If you read something that seems kind of off, see what the source is and see if there's satire or maybe it's the Young Turks where they get a bunch of stuff wrong anyway, Maybe they have a history. I'm sure someone's out there is saying CNN or Fox News or whatever the case is. It happens. The Hard Times is the one that I see a lot that even though I know they're satire, man, do they hit me hard sometimes. The article where they made fun of people still wearing Jankos. Like, remember that bully in middle school that's still wearing Jankos? Yep, he's still an idiot. And here I am. I wear Janko jeans every single day. Yeah, if you don't know what Janko jeans are, go ahead and search it. JNCO. Judge none, choose one. I know that makes no sense, but JNCO, look at those old pants. I wear those almost every single day. And the Hard Times makes fun of those sometimes. And when the Hard Times makes fun of it, that's perfectly fine. They're satire. When the AV Club makes fun of it, now I'm a little bit mad, but then again, they're not real news either. Now, when a professor at a university makes fun of them, hey man, what's up? What, people still wear those? Yeah. You're jelly, aren't you? Yeah, a little bit. That's so, who knows what people really mean. But that's one of my recent Facebook pet peeves. If you disagree with somebody, either one, if it's something you're really emotionally attached to and you don't want to talk about it, don't post it on Facebook. Just delete it. Just delete the whole thing because you realize that you don't want to talk about it. So don't post about it. Or actually have a real discussion. Okay, I disagree with this and this and this. Now, if you disagree with something that's a fact, I'm going to tell you, well, that's a fact. You kind of can't disagree with facts. You got to go into what you can't disagree with facts unless you're going off of another source. You can't. And I'm talking personal. I'm not talking business. Although I do see businesses do it. Not often, but it happens. And if you're a business, you might not want to put any opinionated things out there. Do it on your personal. And with that said, if you're friends with me personally on Facebook and you don't like what I post, but you want to know about the videos, just follow my video channel. Follow Toaden page. I won't put any political stuff on there. I'm just gonna put stuff on there that I find amusing and post my videos. Same thing with the Media Layer Sandwich Facebook. And the Media Layer Sandwich Facebook group, you're free to post so much stuff as long as it's work friendly and we can have a conversation about it. If you promote something, we better be able to have a conversation about it. If you post something that's promoting yourself and then go away and refuse to have a conversation, then it's getting, then what was the point? I have no problem people promoting themselves. Just have a conversation about it. Another thing that's been that I've seen this for quite a while. So I was editing the Astronomicon cosplay video, which is up on Toaden.com. And I had to cut some cosplayers out because someone was flipping off the camera. And I totally understand that, hey, they're in cosplay, they're playing a horror character or whatever, or they're playing a wacky character and they flip off the camera. My video targets anyone that wants to watch, and I'd rather you not flip me off or my camera or my audience. That's that's me personally. That's not a wide thing. Not everyone feels that way. It's just one reason I get invited to the things I get invited to is because I am family friendly. I don't just chase down chicks and girls that wear very little clothing. I don't just chase that down. I'm one of the videographers and photographers that actually is there for the cosplay and to display good cosplay, not just hot women or hot guys or things like that. I'm really the guy that goes, and so was William. We talked about this on the show several times. We're the people that go, hey, if you like what you saw, if you would like this portrait of your child, go ahead and email me. I'll send you a high res for free. I really am just here covering this and get, just for fun. And people know that. I think that's one reason why I get invited to these events, because I'm not a creep. And there's a lot of creeps at these things. I'm not one of them. Don't flip me off, please. Thank you. And when people do it, usually 9 times out of 10, I catch them and I say, hey, please don't do that. It's family. Okay, cool. And so I posted this in a cosplay thing. I just said, hey, look, very small pet peeve. I just want to let you guys know I had to cut some people off from my latest video I'm editing right now just because they flipped off the camera. I didn't catch it. My bad. It happens. But people just keep in mind that you never know, that things are family friendly when you're at an event. Be careful what you do. And then people just started going, did you ask for consent? Well, yeah, duh. I talk about it on the podcast all the time. I've talked about it in panels. Of course, I ask consent. Yes, I give them a business card. Yes, I'm legit. Yes, I'm wearing a press pass. Yes, I have a camera so big, I am not just a random person, or at least there's a really good chance I'm not a random person the way I portray myself and I talk to people and show my credentials. Well, then you need to go through a whole list what you expect from them. Yeah, it doesn't really work like that. I'm not a portrait photographer that's asking for money. I don't pull someone to the side and take 20 minutes with them. I don't pull them aside and take 5 minutes with them. I ask, hey, can I take video of you? Can you just do some movement for me? Awesome, sweet. Here's a card. Thank you. That's it. When I'm covering hundreds of people in a small amount of time, during an event, sometimes that's all you can do. There are many different ways to check out an event. If you do what I do, you want as many people, or at least as many good cosplay videos as possible, and you want their consent. Hey, can I take your video? Some people, if they say no, I ain't got time to ask them why. which is funny because I'm the same people that accuse me of not asking them also try to tell me why a lot of people say no when why are you asking? I know why people say no. I've ran a media side of a convention before and actually asked people and had friends that say no, and I've said no to videography as well myself. I see comments of saying, "Hey, I'm so glad people ask because my child is a foster child and they can't appear anywhere. I can't, so they can't go trick or treating for fear of people taking pictures because I can't have their picture show up on social media for whatever reason." That's why I ask. Even at public events, the only times I can't ask is like during a parade. If you're walking down the street or skating in the middle of Campus Martius dressed like a clown and I want to take a picture of you skating, sometimes I can't ask. But something tells me that's okay, or else you wouldn't be skating in public outside in downtown Detroit in clown makeup. Something tells me it's okay. And later on, you might say, "Hey, you should check out the Striped Circus." Maybe I should. Not all that is true, but those guys were great. So things like that, why I'm not playing the victim here. I just don't understand why, just because someone says, "Hey, look, accidents happen. Let's keep this," sometimes I might not catch something because accidents happen. Sometimes you might be flipping somebody off. Accidents happen. Maybe it was your friend flipping somebody off, and that's why you weren't featured in a newspaper, an online newspaper article with literally hundreds of photos. He took your picture. Was your friend flipping off the camera? That might be why. But what do I know? I do know that I have a spot right here for a sponsor. So if you would like to be sponsored by Media Layer Sandwich, let me know. You can always email me at podcast@medialayersandwich.com or scott@toaden.com. Okay, what else do I have to talk about? DV Radio is amazing. Check out the many shows they have. They have some great shows. Joaquin Watai has a great show about service dogs. In my previous episodes, I've talked to him. I've talked about his show. Barracks Talk's wonderful. Just go look at their schedule and check them out. It's cool. And there's also some other people syndicated there. It's pretty cool because, nothing's wrong at being syndicated. We're syndicated. That's why if you subscribe to DV Radio on the podcast app, we don't show up on there because we're syndicated. I want you to actually subscribe to us on your podcast app, Media Layer Sandwich. That way you get us and not have to sift through a bunch of other shows. But, in DV's radio case, maybe you do. And this is a time where I read comments from news articles on Facebook, things I find. Things I find amusing, I dive through the comments. I don't know what all these comments say, so keep in mind, I will give a headphone warning if it's something you don't want or at least I don't think you may want your little kids walking around or at work if you're listening to me on your speakers. So this is the part of the show that may not be safe for work, may not be safe for little ears running around. Last week it was. So we'll see if I keep going on this way. Maybe we'll be able to keep it that way. This is a part where I look at news articles on Facebook and read comments. This first article is by American Military News. Men-only military draft is unconstitutional, federal judge rules. I think that kind of speaks for itself what the article is about. I did read it, and that's pretty much what it says. Of course, the draft hasn't been used since well before I was born. But, hey, we're all talking about equal rights. Equal rights. So I guess now women may have to register for the draft. It makes sense. In fact, I think that probably should have done before we lifted the ban on transsexuals, and whatever other terminology you may use in the military. Of course, that band is back, but it does make. I don't want to get in the conversation. This was a step to do it before, or just get rid of the band. Just get rid of the draft all in general. One of those two things: either make everyone has to register for the draft, or get rid of the draft in general. That's one of the precursors, because there's a lot of topics that could have came up. Let's do things in a logical order and get things set up. If you want to go in a particular direction, you have to have a logical chain, so there'll be less issues later. At least that's the way I see it. Okay, let's read these comments. I have 3 daughters from the age of 18 to 24. One of them would be useless doing anything physical or anything with pressure. She is such a girl. She has changed so much since becoming a mom. My 21-year-old would be amazing at everything you throw at her. Then there's my 18-year-old. She is such a girl too, but she is quiet and fierce. All my girls are awesome. And in the individual way, I have never thought women should equal to men. We are different, and I am confident in who I am as a woman. I don't need to do everything my husband does. So it goes from my women, my daughters are amazing, to we're not equal. Okay. Should I keep reading? Because this is a part where my brain hurts. I was a stay-at-home mom. I don't regret being there as they were growing up. We raised some amazing kids. I want my daughters to have their choice. Men are not better than women. They are not different. No, they are different. Men are not better than women. They are different. And I accept those differences. Women were not built for war. Some can do it and want to do it, but there's a lot that can't and shouldn't. I wouldn't want a man having to depend on me for covering his back. Okay, first off, nobody wants to go to war. I mean, there are, but they need their heads checked. Nobody actually wants to go to war. I served in the Marine Corps. I know plenty of people that you may think are really weak. We don't know. And, I feel like I don't know. I feel like I understand what you mean, though. I don't necessarily agree. I think there was plenty of women in the Marine Corps that outperformed many of the guys. Because remember, in the military, there isn't just infantry, which women now are allowed to do infantry, which triggers the should women be signing up for the draft. See how that goes? First, you open up the doors so there's more equality, and then you go for more equality. Makes sense. I think so. Because before, if women were into the draft, like, well, what's the point if they can't do infantry and they really want to do infantry? Someone was asking, and their question was answered. And wow, they responded to their own comment saying the same thing. That's precious. Yep. But I also believe every American should have to serve 2 years. Edit. To add, I'm not saying send them over to fight and risk their lives due to ignorance, but they can scrub desks and serve chow and learn some respect and how to take care of themselves. So you think everyone should serve, but not everyone. Don't send them to the infantry. Just haze them a little bit. No, doing other jobs besides infantry isn't hazing, but it's just funny how it's phrased. Okay. So of course this one has a number of responses. And first was like, "Hey, I bet you, sir." And he said, "Yes, the U.S. Navy." I can make some jokes. I fully disagree. There's too much babysitting now with volunteers, imagining people who are forced into it. I've seen MASH. I've also seen other Vietnam era movies and TV shows, but let's look at the movies as well because there's more of them of people that volunteered. Yeah, that's when someone doesn't want to do something and you're having them to do um, tasks that that their life doesn't depend on it, even if someone else's life sort of depends on it. Don't expect their best. Don't expect the person making copies to really care how many copies he makes in a day. That's a very good point, and that's one reason, that's a big point against the draft entirely, and that's probably a good reason why the draft hasn't been enacted in a long time, which thankfully didn't have to be. At least that's what I understand. Let's see here. If we did that, it would be a tremendous waste of tax revenue. I don't understand because either way they'd be fulfilling roles that need to be fulfilled. So I disagree. And you could say war as a whole is a waste of tax money, but to be specific on sending people, I don't understand. You could say it's all waste of tax money, but if it's a task that needs to be performed, it's not. In fact, I think people in the military deserve a living wage. Oh, that's the type of comment I was looking for. Actually, I'm a believer in the Starship Troopers philosophy. Service means citizenship. I like that movie, Star Wars Troopers. I actually saw the first 3 or 4 movies. I don't know. Some of them were animated. But yeah. You see that E-tool over there? Time to learn how to slit trench dairy. E-tool is a foldable shovel and trenching tool. I hope you mean the book, not the movie. Really? We're going to have a book versus movie of Starship Troopers? Really? The director said he couldn't stand the book and thought the uniforms looked best if they looked like Nazis. Well, that's true. If you never saw Starship Troopers, I highly recommend it. Starship Troopers is a fantastic movie. It shows war in a propaganda type way. The director of the movie, of course, did relate did have people dress up in uniforms that resembled the Nazi type uniform, but there's also a lot of just watch it. It's a fantastic movie. it's a great sci-fi killing bugs militaristic movie. There's a lot of great satire in it, and it's just I highly recommend it. And plus Blanche from Golden Girls play is in a scene which was pretty funny. A week before I was going to walk into my local army station and enlist, this is in 1996, I was involved in a horrible car accident. I spent 2.5 months in the ICU. I missed my chance to serve. And after I enrolled in nursing school. I had a need to serve. I figure if I can't be in the army mechanic, I would be a human mechanic. Very rewarding work. What the hell does this have to do with the article about women having to register for the draft, or or a federal judge ruling that it's unconstitutional that men have to register for a draft, but women do not? What does that have to do with it? Nothing. Nothing. You get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir. If my brothers had to, my sister and I should had to. We both no longer qualify for the draft, though. Then again, I volunteered and served. Well, nice to know our veterans kind of agree. Which I do. Like I said, I agree with it. I don't agree with a draft being, it's one of those things where let's just keep this on the level. You know what? Let's look for a new article. And here is a Detroit Free Press article. They posted, "We can't even. And the news article that's linked to it is your smartphone is 7 times dirtier than your toilet. Here's how to clean it. Since it's about reading the comments, let's just jump to the comments. Those are more fun anyway. We got phones, remotes, your steering wheel, all gross. I clean commonly touch items pretty much often. Like, totally. Good thing I have an iPhone 6 and not an iPhone 7. I guess they assumed iPhone 7 in the article. See, you kind of learn about the articles by reading. I rub hand sanitizer on mine at least once a week. I mix water and alcohol 1-to-1, spray it on a microfiber cloth, and wipe the phone down completely a couple times a week. You know what? These are cleanly people. I wish they would clean my house in my phone. And any kind of touch panel type thing I have, tablets, all that, keyboards too. Why not have a smartphone? Just not have a smartphone. Why? Because a normal phone totally wouldn't get dirty. Logic blown, I guess. I don't know. Weird. You should lick the germs off. No, you lick the germs off. I wipe my phone with used toilet paper to reduce the germs on it. All right, you, sir, get the trolling brownie of the day. Guess where I made the brownies? All those germs keep my immune system on the ball. And he got a response of epic proportions in the form of a gift with people inside rubber balls. Head sticking out of rubber balls, bouncing up and down. Even if you are watching the video version, no, I'm not finding that GIF or GIF just to put it up there. But that's some of the things I've read today from Facebook. Some of the comments that amuse me. Did that amuse you? What would you like me to talk about? I will have more guests in the future. But in the meantime, you can tell me your thoughts. And you can always join me in the chat room at dvradio.net on Tuesday nights at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. You could jump in the chat room and listen to the show at the same time from the same place. So the show will be streaming and we'll be in the chat room. And if you can't do that, go ahead and listen on whatever podcast app you have. You can reach out to me at Toaden.com, youtube.com/ToadenK. Subscribe, hit that bell for notifications because subscribing really doesn't matter anymore. I'm about to hit 28,000 subscribers for a fourth time. If you're doing the math, that means I'm losing subscribers again. That's not due to people actually unsubscribing, I am told. In fact, I know this is from YouTube flushing out the system, getting rid of bots, and just generally unsubscribing people on their own as it happens from now and then. Ask any major creator, even though I'm not a major creator, but I look at my analytics way more than I should. As maybe other creators should, as they do. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed our discussion, you and me. And may the algorithms be in your favor.